Less than 5 miles from downtown Indianapolis, it's not just a track, it's the holy ground in the world of motorsports. It carries an aura you can feel before you ever see the pagoda, a weight in the air built for more than a century of speed, danger, triumph, and heartbreak. This is the place where legends were carved, where engines echoed into history, where every driver who straps in knows they're racing on the same asphalt that has shaped American motorsport. The Brickyard 400 adds its own chapter to that legacy. Stock cars thundering through a cathedral built for speed, chasing glory across a yard of bricks that has crowned icons and crushed dreams. There is a reverence here, a pressure that tightens your chest, a sense that every lap matters because this is more than just a racetrack. This is Indy. And now the NASCAR Cup Series returns, ready to etch another moment into the bricks. The history looms large. The aura is unmistakable. At Indianapolis, you don't just race, you try to become worthy of the place. And welcome to the 22nd race of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season as MDK RaceDay gets you ready for the 30th running of the Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here in Speedway, Indiana. And it's absolutely gorgeous here at the racing capital of the world. Temperature is going to be in the mid 80s. It's going to be hot but windy. Wind gusts consistent with the pace around 7 miles an hour west through the racetrack, but wind gusts as high as 20 miles an hour with a track that is aero sensitive and tricky like Indy with this next gen car. That will be extremely critical, but just slight cloud cover. Will be hot but perfect day to go racing. And welcome everyone back to episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jet. Hope you're having a wonderful day as we get you set and ready for the 30th running of the Brickyard 400. Green flag is scheduled for 2:12 p.m. Eastern time on TNT and HBO Max. We're just 5 races away from the chase for the championship begins, and right now the action is getting really tight at the top of the board and right around the chase bubble. We know this for sure. Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and Tyler Reddick have all clinched a spot for the chase. They will race for a championship. What we don't know is among those 3 who will be the top seed. Right now at the moment, it is Denny Hamlin, who sits 68 points ahead of Tyler Reddick. Just about a race length between the two. Ryan Blaney, though, is over a race behind at minus 87. Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Carson Hocevar, Chase Briscoe, and Chris Buescher the top 10, with Daniel Suarez and William Byron in 11th and 12th. Bubba Wallace, the defending Brickyard 400 winner, he's going to have some work to do starting from the back. Starts in, or should say, is 13th in standings. SVG with that great top 5 run last Sunday night at North Wilkesboro jumps up a spot to 14th with the race winner Joe Logano going back to victory lane for the first time in about a year since Texas last May. He now jumps up 2 spots to now get into the chase cut line ahead of his teammate Austin Cindric, who sits 33 points ahead of Eric Jones. Then it's Ryan Preece ahead of his teammate Brad Keselowski. Mike McDowell rounds out the top 20, gaining a spot. Chastain in 21st, AJ Allmendinger 22nd, and Todd Gilliland sits in the 23rd position, minus 111 below the cut line. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of the Busch Light Polo Award, given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates Carson Hocevar from Michigan for his 3rd career Cup Series pole and his 103rd career start. It's his 2nd pole of 2026 and his 1st pole at Indianapolis, winning it with a speed of 186.598 miles an hour. Since 2020, Busch Beer has invested more than $50 million in being a premier sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series. So let's take a look at the starting lineup for the 2026 Brickyard 400. Once again, just like what they did in Texas earlier in May, it's a spire front row between the 77 and the 7 of Hocevar to the inside. To his outside is his teammate Daniel Suarez. Row 2 is Tyler Reddick in the 45 car. To his outside is his fellow Toyota driver Ty Gibbs in the 54. Row 3 is Denny Hamlin. He has won every race you could possibly win in the NASCAR Cup Series except for this one. Nearly won it in 2024. He blew a tire. Hopefully, he wants to reverse that and go to victory lane to kiss the yard of bricks to finally check off the final big name to become just the 5th driver in history to win all 4 Crown Jewel races. He starts 5th alongside Michael McDowell in the 71 ride. Row 4 is Hamlin's driver from 2011 Racing, Corey Heim. Excellent starting position for him in the 7th position alongside Alex Bowman, making him 2nd to last Brickyard 400 start here today. Row 5 is AJ Allmendinger, who won here on the road course back in 2021, and Kyle Larson, the 2024 Brickyard 400 winner, rounds out the top 10. Row 6 is Hoosier native Chase Briscoe in the number 19 ride. Had a great car last year, the Brickyard 400 pole winner in 2025. To his outside is an excellent qualifying position for Cole Custer in the 41 Haas factory team. Row 7 is Ryan Blaney in the number 12 Ford. To his outside is Eric Jones in the 43 Toyota. Row 8 is a pair of Fords from RFK Racing, Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski, who won here back in 2018. Row 9 is John Nemechek in the number 42 Toyota. To his outside is fellow Toyota driver Riley Herbst, with Joe Logano, the 3-time champion, to his outside outside is Austin Dillon in the 3 ride. Row 11 has William Byron, alongside him is Ross Chastain. Christopher Bell starting alongside Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That makes it row 12. Lucky row number 13 is Shane Van Gisbergen and Josh Berry in the number 21 Ford. Row 14 is Chase Elliott, the 2020 Cup Series champion, and Ty Dillon. And how about this? Defending Brickyard 400 winner Bubba Wallace, 29th position he will be starting in after a bad qualifying run. Who's outside is Zane Smith in the 38. Row 16 is Connor Zilch in the 88 car. Who's outside is Austin Hill. FICO on the right for that 33 car for the first time. Row 17 is Noah Gregson in the 4 and Ryan Preece in the 60. Austin Cindric and Todd Gillen make up row 18. Cody Ware and Casey Mears row 19. And Daniel Dye rounds out the 39 car starting lineup. Now let's take a look at the odds to win the Brickyard 400. No surprise to see that Denny Hamlin at the best odds at plus 300. Kyle Larson at 350 and Tyler Reddick at 750. Host of the poll sitter sits at plus 900. That could be a sleeper pick. Christopher Bell at 1,000. Gibbs at 1,100. Briscoe at 1,400 with the defending Brickyard 400 winner Bubba Wallace at 1,800 alongside his buddy Ryan Blaney. Then Chase Elliott and teammate William Byron at 2,200. Corey Heim, even though he's starting inside the top 10, 2,500 for the San Diego Cup Series winner. Daniel Suarez at plus 3,000. Eric Jones and Chris Buescher at 3,500. Bowman Logano at 4,500. Chastain at 6,000. And Brad Keselowski and John Nemechek both sit at 7,000. And now it's time for us to make the call. Very simple. I make a post on my discussion board asking y'all a simple question. What do you think is going to happen in this race here today? We saw a lot of drivers, or so I should say a lot of fans, give out suggestions who to think is going to win. We saw a lot of people say Chase Elliott. Saw some people say Denny Hamlin, like JC1424, who says Denny Hamlin finally gets his last missing crown jewel. I mean, it'll probably be really boring, but I know it will still mean a lot to him. I mean, yeah, Indianapolis usually not the most entertaining racetrack because it'll be a track that's all about track position. We'll talk about that later on. But yeah, Denny Hamlin, like I said, he has won the Daytona 500 multiple times, won the Southern 500 multiple times, won the Coke 600 back in 2022, has nearly won the Brickyard 400 many times, the latest being in 2020. Last year also, I felt like he had a really fast car until he crashed a car in qualifying. Could this be the day he finally gets his name among the only 4 other drivers to do that? That being Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick in elite company. Again, he's just one win away from doing just that, and he has a very good chance of making that happen here today. Jeff Speed 3651 says, I think it could be a battle between Spire and Legacy. Both were top 10 in practice, and even with Jones in 11th, he still could charge to the front. Plus, Legacy found something on big draft track that are not super speedways. For Spire, they show more speed this year, plus they have Hocevar, and if Suarez doesn't fade back, he could also compete. I do think though that while you are 100% right, I do think I would trust more Legacy because of Toyota in general. Toyota has brought in a ton of speed here today. Spire, don't get me wrong, Spire is great, Chevrolet is great, but I think in terms of the big tracks that are all about speed, you got to give the nod to Toyota because yes, Chevrolet has certainly showed up. You know, locked up the front row. You look at the people of Toyota's behind them, your Denny Hamlins, your Ty Gibbses, your Tyler Reddicks. You're talking about tough competition. Right now, I don't think Spire is at the level, Chevrolet is at the level of the Toyotas are, especially this weekend here at Indy, but they could put up a fight. Legacy, though, you are 100% right about that. They have shown some good speed here and there, specifically Eric Jones. They could definitely be sleepers here today because both have run very well, which is very surprising. Usually it's just Eric Jones, but the fact that Nemechek also, something to keep note of. Finally, S. Cole 4519 says, this driver has improved immensely this year. Some will call him brash, some will call him a Nepo baby, but after today, he will be called a Brickyard 400 champion. I think Ty Gibbs wins this race and really cements himself as a top caliber driver in the Cup Series. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to lead into because Ty Gibbs, very fast, had the 3rd fastest single lap average, 4th fastest in the 5 lap average, 2nd fastest in the 10 lap average, and fastest in the 15 lap average. That tells me that 54 car is consistent and gets better and better as the run goes on. Indianapolis usually is all about long green flag runs. We can have some surprises of what we saw last year and have 1 or 2 overtime runs, but usually for the most part, it's all about long green flag runs. And that 54 car fits that to a T, which is why I think that while yes, you know, Legacy, especially Spire, they have shown a lot of speed. I got to give the nod to the big Toyota names of the Joe Gibbses and the 2311s because I mentioned Ty Gibbs, you mentioned Denny Hamlin. I want to look at 2311 Racing, Tyler Reddick. He was not happy at Friday, was not happy at all in practice, yet qualified 3rd. So I don't know what's going on. Bubba Wallace, we know how great Bubba Wallace is at Indianapolis. He's finished in the top 10, I believe, in all of his starts, or at least 4 of his 6 starts at the Brickyard. Obviously, the Brickyard 400 champion from last year. But he's starting in 29th place. You look at another top driver, Christopher Bell, I thought was also very fast in practice, starting 23rd. So you talk about some big names coming from the back. Chase Elliott is another driver starting in the mid or near the back of the pack. We're very interesting to see if they can drive their way up towards the front, because while track position is very key, we have seen drivers be able to drive it to the front. You look at Kyle Larson back in 2024, who started way in the back, and with those new tires, just drove his way up towards the front. So we know it's possible, but can it be done? We'll have to wait and see how the track changes, how the race turns out, strategy may evolve. If we have any surprise cautions that could flip the strategy, drivers can take advantage of that. Will be very interesting to see on what I think could take place in this race. I don't think it's an easy slam dunk, because Carson Hocevar said he doesn't think anyone has ever passed a leader. That is far from the case. We have seen that you can pass drivers, you can battle for the lead. Just have to have a very good handling race car to be able to handle those tricky tight corners and the short chutes of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I think Toyota's going to give Chevrolet a run for their money, and I think they're going to once again dominate. As we take a look at our fantasy league lineup over to my right, so we have HMS Fan for Life leading the standings, 12 points ahead of Richard Morris, 22. Third is Wood Rooster at minus 21, Danny Boy 24.48, minus 76, and right at the top 5 is Speed Racer, minus 77. I'm back in, like, again, 44th or so I gotta do some catching up to do. Let's take a look at my fantasy league lineup. For Indianapolis, I have Kyle Larson, because he was fast. He was fast in practice. Denny Hamlin, you gotta have him in your lineup. I have the Hoosier native Chase Briscoe. I like what I saw from that 19 ride in practice. Didn't have the best lap, but was still very solid. Corey Heim that I also have. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people in this race here today. I think he's going to have a very good run today. I got Christopher Bell. I think that he just had a bad qualifying lap, but he was very fast in practice on Friday. He's going to show them a run for their money. And I have Bubba Wallace in my starters because he has a great record at Indianapolis, but starting 29th, and he hit the wall in practice on Friday. I wasn't confident in that 23 ride, but again, he knows how to run well here. So it's like, history wise says you got to have something on the 23. So I got him in my garage. But the driver that I have winning this race is what one of our viewers said in the Make Your Call, Ty Gibbs. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Ty Gibbs. We mentioned the stats that he put up in practice, and not to mention his qualifying lap was not good. He messed up multiple times in his qualifying lap and still qualified inside the top 10. That tells me that 54 car is bad fast. And so I got Ty Gibbs. I think he's going to get the job done. I think he's going to win at Indianapolis and get his second win of 2026 and the second win of his career. But those are my thoughts. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jack from MDK. Thank you so much for watching. See y'all next time.